Yeah, there's no way I'd sign up to go and fight Russia. I mean, this is Ukraine's war. I would refuse to get involved. And if I was forced and then I was captured by Russian soldiers, they'd probably torture me. And I would tell them exactly what they wanted to hear. I wouldn't care.
But if it was compulsory, Paul, what would you do? Would you move abroad?
I mean, it's not that I'd move abroad. I mean, if they forced me, and then, I mean, I wouldn't fight. I would be right in the back in the trenches, hiding. There's no way I'd do it. And then what would happen if Russia... I mean, look at that plane that got shot down the other day by Ukraine with the Russian prisoners of war.
Yeah.
You couldn't trust anybody. You'd probably get killed by friendly fire.
So there's nothing that could persuade... I mean, for goodness sake, Paul, what if your country needed you? As Boris Johnson said, Lord Kitchener, for the famous point, said, for goodness sake, we need Paul in Watford in order to do this. We need you. What would you say?
I'd say no way, and I'd go on the run if it comes to it.
You go on the run? Purely to get away from it?
Yeah, I mean, this is Ukraine's problem. This isn't my problem. I mean, Russia's not done anything to me. Well, I don't know no Russians.
Well, Paul, let me tell you, you're a lesser man than Boris Johnson because he says he would fight. Do you believe him?
Come on. I bet the man can't even walk up a set of stairs without being out of breath. I mean, come on.
So you don't think Boris Johnson would be of particular use?
No way. I mean, he's getting paid all this money to be controversial in his newspaper column, like GB News. That's all he's doing. He's just paying. He's just talking rubbish. So the public will buy his paper and read about him.
Well, he says he'd sign up.
Just like you said, he hid in that fridge. I remember watching that on telly when the newspaper I think it was Sky confronted him, asking questions, and he hid in the fridge. So if he's hiding in the fridge from a reporter, come on. I mean, what are they going to do? And then what's going to happen when the Russians catch you?
Yeah, fair point. Paul in Watford.
I would definitely be for conscription if required, obviously to defend the country. If I was young enough, I'm probably not young enough, but I would do some kind of whatever work it would be needed that I could do. I worked for the American Air Force in Germany for many years.
Oh, wow.
In a civilian role. So I'm very used to being around the soldiers, and I know what it's like to go to war. And I was there at the tail end of the second Iraq War, and I was also there for Bosnia, the Bosnia war as well. So I've seen the soldiers go out, young and eager, and I've seen them come back in their coffins. So it's not a good thing. War is never good, but people have to do it, and I would definitely be there. So would Boris do it? No, I don't think he would. He very cleverly gave himself a loophole to get out of it, and I think the only war he'd be fighting will be down at Kentucky Chicken with Colonel Sanders. Right.
But what... I mean, look, Boris Johnson provokes strong sentiment, and rightly so. People have very strong views on him one way or the other. But actually, to give him his credit in this situation... At least the idea of conscription and the idea of joining the army, at least he is saying, do you know what, I'd like to think that I'd do it. At least he's sort of, because you said you're for conscription, Kim, at least he's on the same page as you.
Yeah, he's encouraging the young. He wants the young to do it so that he doesn't have to. I think he's trying to encourage people, by saying that this is the right thing to do. And he definitely, wants people to do it. So his heart is in the right place in saying that as a country, we want to defend our country and we want to get out there and do it. But I don't think he's got the guts to stand up and do it himself.
Mm. And so do you support this? I mean, you said that you would if you were asked, but this call from General Sir Patrick Sanders to have a sort of civvy army, is that something you would support? Do you think it's actually something that's necessary?
Yeah, absolutely, because our forces have been run down to almost nothing. And I think that if we were in a position where we had to go to war, we just haven't got enough, military to do it. So, other than, if and I pray it never happens, it was a war of, nuclear war, something like that, where we would just obliterate ourselves and the enemy, then we need to increase the armed forces, and the only way that we're going to do that is through building up, our people on the ground. And it's just not having. I worked for a company for many years that also, did all the advertising for the armed forces, and we weren't able to increase. So subscription seems to be the only way to do that. So, we would need to do that, and I hope that the people that are of that age would step forward and would want to defend their country.
Okay, Kim, thank you very much. Would you go and fight if your country needed you?
Of course I would. I'm ex-military myself.
So you have?
I left in January 2004, medically discharged from the military.
Right.
Obviously, I wouldn't go abroad. I would defend my country at home. And I don't see why people wouldn't. My personal opinion is there should be some form of national service. And national
Which they
service
do in a lot of other countries, don't they?
Yeah, and if you think those other countries, everybody that's joined have been well trained. They look smart. They're very disciplined, and they'll a drop of the hat. They'll go. And I think if you enforce like a national service over here, I think there could be a lot of benefits in many ways. A national service doesn't have to be military, by the way. It could be some form of working for NHS, some form of working for the police force or something like that. And I think also, with the immigration the way it is at the moment, if you want to come over this country, you could actually join the military to be able to fight for this country. Because if you really want to be in this country and you really want to take all the benefits or be able to have your family over here, you need to do something for the country. So let's just say, let's join a national service, come over here, you're more than welcome to all their benefits, everything. And that means that you're a true Brit. I think anybody that is a true Brit would actually stand up and fight for their country.
What do you say to this, though? Matt in Berkshire has just texted John and says, it sounds like everyone is wishing for more people to get vaporised. Every single war game, simulation of serious conflict between the West and Russia ends up going nuclear. The government and the wealthy will throw fodder while they hide in bunkers and survive, emerging as the victorious leaders of a brave new world. But you get the point that he's making, that actually we're sending young people into battle, some people will argue wrongly anyway. What is this going to do to help?
What, the national service?
Well, just the idea of generally boosting military numbers full stop. Just the idea of having... Because with conscription, whilst it's not exclusively people joining the army, you would have a boost to civilian resources, wouldn't you? You would have people fighting on the front line. And people are very anti that.
But it's not about. It's all about numbers. At the end of the day, we're the best trained military in the world, right? By far, yeah. But we haven't got the numbers. If we say that, look, we've got the numbers, people are less likely to attack us. You know what I mean? Because they know. Wait a minute, hold on. With a nuclear war, there's nothing you can do. They push a button, we push a button. Right? At the end of the day, there's nothing we can do. But saying that, the army is so well equipped. Right? If you learn how to look after yourself, learn everything like we did with NBC training, nuclear biological chemical warfare training, you can survive if you know how.
So you like the idea of a sort of national service, to sum up, John? You think it would be beneficial for people?
Of course. If you think, look at knife crime. Look at all of these people that are going to prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would reduce the knife crime on the streets. Yeah, because people are actually doing something. That's what I'm saying. If you had that in place, look at Finland. Yeah, Finland, what a country. Hardly any knife crime, hardly any crime. People join the national service, they do their 2 years. Mate, it's common sense to me.
Okay, John, thank you very much. Lewis, do you agree with John? Would you like national service to be compulsory?
Yes, I would indeed. Especially, I genuinely think nowadays we as Brits we don't have enough national pride whatsoever. If I look on social media, for instance, people are going on there saying they wouldn't fight the war. It's not their problem. Yes, it's not their problem, but if their country goes to war, then it does become their problem. If they're the Army, the Navy, the RAF need you, then you've got to go because you're British, you're a citizen, you live here, you fight for your country. Yes, with warfare at the moment, it's nuclear. It can be nuclear, but that's the way it's gone. That's the way everything has evolved. So with people, especially on social media, turning around and saying, no, I wouldn't go for war. It's not my problem. Lock me up. Like, send me to jail. Because I can sit in there, I can pay a PlayStation, I could do this, I could do that. It just shows us as Brits that we don't have any national pride anymore. Do you think back in World War One, World War Two, they were sitting there going, "Oh, send me to jail because I don't want to go"? Of course they didn't. They were proud to be British. They were proud to go fight for their country. They knew what they were signing up for. It is what it is. And I think a lot of people are having a mindset that is quite
detrimental. Yeah, and do you believe Boris Johnson when he says he'd be one of the first people on the battlefield to fight, whether you like him or not? Do you actually respect what he's saying then, Lewis?
Yeah, because he wants. He's proven he's being British. He's putting his life. He's putting everything to the wayside to go and fight. Yeah. Yes, if he's not on the front line, he may be back home. He may be somewhere. But if he's still signed up, then he's put everything that he knows that he's living for, his luxuries, to the wayside to put his country first.
Okay, Lewis, thank you very much. Lewis in Folkestone there. I think I have a bit of sympathy for what Lewis says. And actually, this whole idea of conscription and national service is not necessarily that you're sort of on the front line, as people have pointed out, as a sort of, as crude as it is, just a target. But actually, there's plenty of things you can do behind the scenes to help out.